Maxey. Wow, what a play. He's got Bogdanovich thinking about a three. There it is. Yes! From beyond. Oh, and there's Boyle coming up with a steal. Curry open. It's for three. Yes!
And now, Morning Cup of Joe.
Well, one, you have to want to let people know that you made a mistake. Everybody's saying just because I missed a few games, this is why I didn't win MVP. I'm going to show you starting in the summertime, starting in preseason, starting at the beginning of the season. I'm going to show you that I'm the MVP, and I'm going to do it immediately. Right here, first play of the game, I know this play is going to be a cross five. Where would you stop, Chuck? I stop right there. But no, you let a guy push you out, get the pass, and you take a deflection. You take a crazy shot. I'm not letting the world know that I'm the best big man by taking this crazy shot. Yeah, that was the first. And when you start the game like this is why you go 0 for 5. Right here, I let a weak guy push me back out. I let the double cover, make a weak pass. Don't give my guy a good shot. Get around him. Post up. Barbecue chicken. But nope, I don't want it. I don't know if he wants to show the world that he's the best big man. Right here. You're fighting, but you're fighting in the wrong position. Stop right there. Get it. Get the ball. Hey, stop being clumsy. Move your feet. Establish yourself. Let the world know, Ernie, you made a mistake. Chuck, you made a mistake. Shaq made a mistake. I'm the best big man. He's not doing that, and that's why he's 0 for 5. You got to establish yourself as a big guy saying, this is my league. I'm the best big guy in the league. Forget Jokic. Forget Cat. This is my league. He's not doing that right now.
What is up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to Morning Cup of Joe. Guys, if you love the Sixers, please share the love. Give this video a like. And smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our Sixers content. Today, we are breaking down the Sixers versus Knicks. Sixers got the L last night, 112-99, moved to 2-2 on the season. We're going to break it all down. And, of course, I've got my man over there, Tiago at T Scabia. Good morning, Tiago.
Good morning, Chris. Shaq versus Embiid is a tradition like any other. It seems like now a yearly thing on TNT when the Sixers play and Joel Embiid struggles. Shaq views the game from the lens of a different guy, like he's never struggled before in his career. I mean it was a rough game last night. I'll say some of the points that Shaq brought up yesterday. Again, big picture, Shaq is kind of just feeling threatened by Embiid's presence in the league a little bit, I think. But he did bring up some interesting points in that clip that I'm not sure he was entirely wrong about. So I guess we can touch on it if you like.
Yeah, no, let's deep dive into what went down last night. I think whereas like the Sixers utilized last year defense, one of the I think number 2 defense in the league, we saw that the Knicks are very much capable of overcoming not so good defense with amazing offense. I thought we saw amazing teamwork from the New York Knicks. This team had 24 assists to 41 made field goals. They had 5 guys finish in double figures. Whereas like you kind of, if you're a Sixers fan, you have to go right to that first half where it all fell apart, where the Sixers had just 7 assists to 9 turnovers and looked significantly slower than the New York Knicks. At that time, the Sixers bench was outscored 30-10 in the first half. With the Sixers bench, that was one of the main positives of this season so far. They are the second best plus-minus bench in the NBA. You look at Joel Embiid. You heard Shaquille O'Neal. Embiid was over 5 in the first half, where all 9 of his 9 points came from the free throw line. He did have 3 turnovers. Tobias was fine last night. He had 11 points. By far the worst second quarter of Furkan Korkmaz's season. He was on negative 22 then, 0-5 again from the field. I just saw the Knicks play with a ton of energy. The Sixers looked fat and slow. The Sixers were 2 of 15 from 3 in the first half, while the Knicks just couldn't miss, 10 of 16 from 3. And you look at kind of like what happened for the Sixers. The Sixers were 4-11 in the paint, 4 of 11, and then 0 of 5 from 3 in that second quarter. Joel Embiid took 2 shots in that second quarter. Both were from 3. And I do agree, Tiago, that he looks slow. I'm not going to say he's injured. I'm not going to say he's out of shape. but there was a stark difference between what we saw from the Knicks and what we saw from the Sixers. And while you talk, let's break down the second quarter and exactly what went wrong. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the Sixers fat and slow. They are a lineup that's getting older and slower, right? So if you look at the starting lineup, Danny Green, Seth Curry, Joel Embiid starting to get up there in age, Tobias Harris, these aren't necessarily very explosive, speedy players. And especially the physicality part of it last night, I thought that it got a little bit out of the Sixers' wheelhouse. And I thought they really struggled with the Knicks' physicality and the Knicks' speed of play. Going into the game, I tweeted a stat to kind of alarm fans of what was about to come. The Knicks are a entirely different offense than what the Sixers saw last year. They're an offense that is up in pace and number one in three-point shooting. So what we saw last year was an offense that was slow, isolation-driven, plotting, kind of like what the Sixers are a little bit now. Not to make apples to apples comparison, but when you watch the Sixers offense, it reminds you a little bit of what the Knicks were last year. And the Knicks have joined the NBA world of modern offense this year. And it shows, man. I mean, they shoot a lot of three-pointers. They play with a step. They make you think defensively. And I thought that the Sixers failed across the board last night to meet the challenge. And specifically, like you said, Chris, in that second quarter, that's where things really kind of got out of hand. And I know you probably prepared some stuff for us to look at. But if you look at, like, first of all, big picture, the Knicks shot, let me look at it, 14 for 21 in the quarter. And the Sixers were a minus 23 in the quarter. Yeah. And in those 39 points that the Knicks scored, I counted exactly 7 pick and roll possessions where they absolutely torn the Sixers to shred defensively. And that's something that was very concerning, because at no point during that particular sequence did you see the Sixers make any type of adjustment to how defend the pick and roll, right? So one of the things that we talked about with Brett Brown that drove us crazy was the fact that Brett deployed this very loose drop coverage in the pick and roll. And it kind of allowed the ball handler to kind of sell in that mid-range area with comfort or behind the three-point line, uncontested, and shoot three-pointers or make an open look. And that's exactly what happened last night for 7 possessions. Doc Rivers, that's something that I expected more out of Doc Rivers' staff, is to be a little bit more creative in how they defend the pick and roll. So blitzing, trapping, even perhaps sometimes you go into like a zone. Those are things that we see very, very little of the Sixers staff. And I thought it would be something that would have came very handy last night, because they are, fact of the matter, they were getting torn to shreds by the Knicks pick and roll. I don't know if you have anything prepared, Chris, for us to look at here.
Yeah, I've got every single field goal made by the New York Knicks in this second quarter. And you're going to see it. You see it right there, the start of the second quarter. Sixers are up 26-23. They did okay in the first quarter. By the way, props to the Knicks fan base, because that stadium was rocking. That was a lot of fun. When the Knicks are really good, man, that is a difference maker. I love watching. It's just, I love the energy and they give the team. So let's break it down here. I'm going to slow it down every time. There you go, Derrick Rose.
Yeah, the first one, right? So you got Andre Drummond drop coverage, fine. Watch Andre Drummond, like how he defends that. I mean, he turns his back to the play, kind of leaving Korkmaz with the hot potato here. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you get when you have kind of a bigger, slower center anchoring your defense. Because to me, if you have an agility and if you have quickness at that position, he can shuffle his feet, right? So he's turned his back to Rose, but why not shuffle your feet and try to deny that drive by Rose and have him settle in that top of the key area? So by him turning his back, I didn't think that he defended that particular play particularly well. It kind of made it very easy on Derrick Rose. That was, and you can keep running, Chris. I mean, we can go through just let it go and run. This one is, I think they just kind of settled in to, again, drop coverage. Oh no! So go back on this one. This one I want to talk about, actually, if you're going to go back. So in this particular play, I noted this down because Matisse Thybulle has had a really rough start of the.
He has, man. Is it time? Are you in panic mode regarding Thybulle because his defense has taken a step back?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no on the defense because I think he's got instincts that you really can't teach and you really cannot lose. But I am very concerned offensively because it's time to add something else to the table, and you can clearly see it may not be there for him offensively, but defensively, on this play, you cannot get up in the air like this and just leave a corner three wide open. I mean, that is. Matisse is known to gamble, and gambling is a part of why he's such an effective perimeter defender. But this is just downright irresponsible. There is no reason why you should be up in the air here. You got guys all over as a Kemba.
Kemba is handling the ball, and then you have Derrick Rose in the corner.
Right, and Derrick Rose has been shooting the ball lights out this year. You got to know the personnel on the court. You got to know that corner three is a sacred spot on the court. And then he just leaves Korkmaz to try to rotate and defend that. I mean, that's just poor defense by Thybulle here. And it's been really kind of disappointing to watch him play through this early part of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's keep it rolling. This is painful to watch, by the way.
Yeah, this is what the game was, but it's constant pick and rolls, like we're saying.
Yeah, and that's how it felt, too, if you're watching the game live. This second quarter, it felt like somewhat like Sixers playoff basketball, where you're literally just wanting this quarter to end. Just that was my thought process the entire second quarter. Just get it over with. And I was ready to I was yelling at the screen to Doc Rivers, just take out the starters. This was like quicksand. Everything that could have went wrong for the Sixers happened in this second quarter. So let's keep it rolling.
I mean, this is just
you're going to see this is a pattern. You're going to see as we continue here. Sixers turnovers to Knicks offense. That was the one general theme. So here, I think Drummond made a good defensive play here. I think he had stolen the ball here. And then, of course, gives it right back to the Knicks. And you have Toppin finish over Drummond. All right, here we go. We have Kemba Walker versus Matisse Thybulle right here.
Yeah, so Matisse Thybulle, he's a good point of attack defender. He's not Ben Simmons. And I thought that this was the first game where the Sixers really missed Ben Simmons defensively, because Ben Simmons is one of the best kind of all-around point of attack defenders that exist in the NBA. And that really can protect the integrity of your defense, right? So if you just run the play, he turns the corner on Thybulle. And now you got, you got people scrambling over inside, and makes a good pass, good touch play by Gibson. But if you got a guy who can cut that off right at the perimeter, that play never happens. It never happens. So, it's stuff that you start seeing with Ben Simmons not on the court that, you kind of see where the breakdowns can kind of happen.
That's so funny you said that, because we talked before we went live here how my thought process in this halfway through the second quarter, and Austin nailed it. He called it in our Discord chat. I haven't watched the Knicks play before this season. This was my first time watching the Knicks, and literally halfway through the second quarter, I'm like, man, they need Ben Simmons so bad in this game. It was stark. It was so obvious.
We can even go offensively because they scored 7 points off turnovers. Knicks. So pretty much no easy buckets. Last year, they averaged over 16 against the Knicks points off turnovers. So you can tell, where the difference lies.
All right, here you go. Thybulle versus Kemba.
Yeah, so this is they're just attacking Andre Drummond the pick and roll there. There's nothing crazy about this play. Drummond's sitting all the way back. I'm going to set the screen. Kemba's hot. Again, nobody comes to blitz him. There's no kind of trap or anything like that to get the ball out of Kemba's hands, right? So trap him early in the possession in half court. Just get ball out of his hands and then rotate. None of that.
Yeah. Wide open three. A lot of wide open threes so far. We're not even halfway through the second quarter. Here we go.
You can just keep rolling. I mean, it's just a turnover. Yeah.
Here's another turnover.
Yeah,
Alec Burks misses this wide open layup.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We have another. Is that quickly?
Yes.
Yeah, it is quickly. Took Maxi's lunch there.
So
that was one of the best plays of the game for the Knicks for sure.
It was, and the crowd got a little bit crazy on the quickly shake because it looked nice on TV. But how I interpret this play was just Maxi dying on this Mitchell Robinson screen, kind of.
Let's say he tripped.
Yeah, he tripped, and it kind of happens. But you see how Maxi's size limits his ability to defend because guys will set a screen, and Maxi's not fighting through that, man. I mean, if a guy sets a sound screen, he's gonna die on that hill. And again, Ben Simmons being 6'10" can kind of fight through stuff and kind of make it harder on the ball handler to get the shot off, right? He can squeeze through the screens. He's got tremendous agility. So yeah.
Here you got Randall, who I thought he's averaging 28 plus a game. I thought what was most impressive about how unselfish he was last night. He was sharing the ball really well. That was my main takeaway from Julius Randle. What about you?
Yeah, he's sharing the ball well. He's shooting the ball a little bit better overall. And people are always quick to when Sixers struggle, the first name they go to is Tobias Harris now because Ben Simmons is out, right? And I thought Tobias was their best player, and I thought he defended Julius Randle for the most part really well in the first half. But yeah, if you could stop it first, Chris. So, but you see why, in that play, again, Ben Simmons is a guy who can defend the post with power, and you don't have that with Harris because Randall is just backing him down. So now you got the help defense coming down, and now he's able to make that simple pocket pass. So with Ben Simmons, you got a guy who can anchor in the post, and everybody can stay in their lanes and protect all the passing windows that Randall has to work with.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's another.
So now it starts with Joel Embiid on the court. So they took out Drummond and they put out Embiid. And this one, I thought the Sixers did a pretty good job defending. They kind of made it hard on Kemba a little bit to contest, to shoot. And Kemba just hit a good shot. But as you keep rolling, there's going to be a specific play where Joel is defending that pick and roll, which, again, it's right there. So if you just go back and look at that one. That play, and again, it could be the knee, it could be the stamina, it could be whatever. But how that play starts right off the bat, I don't like where Joel Embiid is positioned because the guy setting the screen is Taj Gibson. And Taj Gibson is not rolling on this play. He just sets a screen and sets it to the 3-point line. Now watch how low Embiid is on that play. And his body, first of all, starting the possession is facing the baseline. It's not even facing the ball. So he's not in any type of active position to defend the shooter here. And that's something that you notice with Embiid in the pick and roll is that attention to fine details. He's got a tremendous ability to recover, block at the rim. He's got defensive player of the year potential as an interior defender. But if he takes just one step forward in that play, he can alter that shot or even make that guy into a passer. And there's really, if you look at the way that the Knicks structured offense in that set, there's nothing for him to protect under the rim because the shooters are covered. Taj at the 3-point line. If he's just more actively defending this play, this is potentially not even a shot. So it's a little bit disappointing to see him kind of engage in the pick and roll that way. And again, it's one possession in a 2-game season, but it's a theme with Joel Embiid when you watch him in the pick and roll, and teams understand that. So they attack him mercilessly in the pick and roll. And you like to see a guy who can be a little bit more quicker and a little more active, when he's got no interior responsibility. Try to cross the disruption. Try to use your size to your advantage. And I thought that he failed to do that.
All right, let's roll forward. Here, Sixers are down 14. They got Seth Curry in the game now. Just shoots over the screen. I mean, the Knicks were hot, man. At this point, the stadium was going nuts.
They were, and that's what they did. They identified the matchup. So again, they put in this shot, they put Tobias Harris in conflict. Tobias Harris has to give space here. Tobias Harris is not as quick as Ben Simmons, not as quick as some of the other perimeter players. So he takes one step back and kind of hesitates. If you got guys on your perimeter that are quicker, more switchable, they have to respect less of Kemba's speed. I'm not saying they don't respect it, but perhaps they take 1 or 2 inches forward and then use their length to contest. Tobias Harris doesn't have that quickness. He understands that, and he backs up, and he's flat-footed on that shot. So the Knicks understood exactly who to attack throughout the game, and they did a phenomenal job of that.
Yep. Pushed it to a 17-point lead. Knicks on the fast break yet again.
Yeah.
Easy. Just no one's like attacking the rim there.
No.
It just looks so lazy. 17-point lead here, 34 seconds left. Julius Randle takes Tobias Harris down low.
Help defense.
Finds Fournier for a 3 at the top of the key. And that pushes the lead to 20 right there. And that's it. That's it, man. Brutal. That's not exactly the Sixers of 2020, 2021. So, although they did struggle with the pick and roll, I can't deny that. But not having Ben Simmons on that court was a very, very obvious from the first half, and that was really the difference. Any final thoughts on that before we roll into my top 5 plays?
No, man. I mean, it's one game out of 82. And they're going to have nights like these, but you hope that the tape will show some opportunities for them to defend the most common play in NBA basketball, that teams are going to run to shred come playoff time. We saw it with Trae Young in Atlanta. That's all teams do in the postseason is pick and roll isolation, spread pick and roll isolation. They pinpoint the matchup and they go over it over and over again until you adjust for either your personnel or how you defend. And the Sixers did not do that last night.
All right, let's roll on here. Here's my honorable mentions. Joel Embiid dunk, and he falls down, holding his knee.
Anger Joel Embiid.
Yep. That was I don't know. It might have been his first bucket, or was it a little bit before this? But dude did not have a bucket until the third quarter. Last night.
Yeah, when he goes bad, he goes bad with Joel sometimes.
Yeah. All right, so we have a rebound here from Tobias Harris. Oh, this is a nice play from Tyrese Maxey in the first quarter. Nice finish. Maxey was kind of a lightning bolt there in that first quarter. He made a couple of impressive plays. We'll see today, especially defensively. Mm-hmm. Nice find. There's a little more cutting to the basket last night. Lost in the just slop of that first half. There was some cutting last night, Tiago. And I do want to just real quickly an aside. I thought of you last night when Tobias Harris had 4 3-pointers in the first quarter.
I was watching. It was like you were watching a completely different sport with Tobias Harris. But that's what you want from him, man. He's a good shooter. And a lot of them didn't fall early. You want him at that 5, 6, sometimes perhaps even 7 3-pointers a game range. Mm-hmm. I thought that's the one thing about the offense, like you said, Chris. The cutting seems to be a little bit more prevalent. At one point last night, they ran a really nifty set where Joel reversed the ball to Danny Green in the corner. People flow towards Danny Green, because he's a good corner shooter. And Tobias had a nice nifty cut to the basket. And Danny Green, who's a terrible passer, is able to kind of find them in that open lane and go up with it. So they're doing more of that, which is encouraging.
Next up, Matisse Thybulle gets the steal here.
Actually takes a dribble, which is something that.
And leads to a Furky 3.
Yeah.
Very nice. Next up, we have Georges Niang finds Tyrese Maxey for the reverse layup. That was a fun finish.
Yep.
All right, let's go to my number 5. Tyrese Maxey defense had a couple nice defensive plays back to back in the first quarter. Here he strips Julius Randle, who has the mismatch, but Maxey's got some quick hands there, and then challenges the shot point there from Kemba Walker, I believe it was.
Yeah,
No.
I think it was actually. Yep, it was. I think he feels more confident because refs are calling less fouls, so he's really gambling as that kind of Thibault-like weak side behind the door reach to help alter the shot. He did it a few times last night.
No, that is Kemba. My bad. On the first defensive possession. And then again, so not bad. I mean, there's been flashes defensively for Tyrese.
But you see him die on that Gibson screen.
100%. He's 20 years old. Like this, like I said on previous shows, like this is the growing pains. The living with a 20-year-old point guard on a team with championship aspirations. This is what you're going to have to deal with. And that being said, he's doing fine. I'm not complaining at all, but there's going to be some growing pains that we're just going to have to deal with him being started. Let's go to number 4. We have, I don't remember. I just made this. Blocked by Joel Embiid. His rim protection has been pretty solid this season. Offensively, it's not been good, especially in second halves. But at least rim protection wise, he's looked excellent. What about you, Tiago?
I completely agree. Like I said, we talked about it earlier in the podcast. Interior of the paint, he's as good as any. It's just when teams start pulling him out of the paint, how can you alter possessions in a different way?
Number 3, we have this is Derrick Rose versus Georges Niang.
Yeah.
Niang gets the steal, pushes the fast break, finds Thibault for the dunk. That was in the fourth quarter, somewhat during garbage time. But again, if you've been watching our shows, I love my defense into offense plays. But number 2, we have Andre Drummond with another flashy pass. He's been making like one of these a game.
Yeah.
Here you have, I think, is it Furky? Yeah, it is Furky. Again, look at this. Like Andre Drummond getting ready to pass, and Korkmaz's not even open yet. He throws it, and then reverse dunk from Furkan Korkmaz. I love that. That's again, it didn't really impact the game, but Andre Drummond's passing has been definitely a highlight so far this season.
Yeah, I agree. And but we are going to see a little bit of regression to the mean because Andre Drummond is not Magic Johnson. We saw a little bit of last night with the turnovers, right? So, but I love that set. I love that.
Number 1 play of the game versus the New York Knicks. And you might be surprised by this, but this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see from the Philadelphia 76ers. Very good ball movement there. A really nice find by Furkan Korkmaz to Tobias Harris under the rim. It's been really hot and cold for the Sixers regarding ball movement. They looked much better against the OKC Thunder. It was not great during the New York Knicks. But this is, getting back to last year, this is a very nice pass by Furkan Korkmaz here to Tobias for the finish and 1. Again, the Sixers were getting blown out here in the third quarter. This is what during the slop of that. Oh, no, this is in the third quarter. My bad. I thought it said second. But regardless, that's what we need, Tiago. We need more ball movement. We need more creative offense. That is my top 5 plays of the game. Any reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a lead guard. You can see shot creation for them, even with Ben Simmons off the court. Yeah, it's painful. And there was this idea that you take Ben Simmons off the court, things open up, everything becomes easier for Embiid, and the offense goes from average to top tier. Like that was never based on any type of reality. Like Ben Simmons has a lot of flaws offensively. He's still one of their better shot creators because of what he's able to do on the ball, even in the half court where he's very, very limited. He can do things in the half court to create space for other players. But people do not want to listen to that. They want to keep pounding the Ben Simmons is an offensive zero, and you see how hard it is to get offense, even with Ben Simmons off the court. So they need a lead guard, whether it's Ben Simmons or somebody else they trade for Ben Simmons. It's paramount that they get somebody here who can just orchestrate offense.
I was generally impressed by the New York Knicks. Generally impressed. That was like my main takeaway from last night was, I just had, the Knicks last year in the playoffs, ISO. That was a completely different team what I saw last night. And you look at their athletic bigs, you look at their size, that's going to be a matchup problem in the playoffs. 100%. I mean, if just like we said last year during our post-game shows, we talked about exactly this. Trae Young, Clint Capella, pick and roll, Kyrie Irving, all this kind of stuff. You can absolutely mark down the New York Knicks as a huge issue for the Sixers if they were to get that matchup in the first, second round, you name it. So,
and just one point on that, Chris, because they can swing for the fence, it's all theoretical, and trade for Dame Lillard, right? Assuming Lillard's on the table. And again, Lillard's the perfect fit. His offensive firepower is tremendous. But if he's not able to bring something at or near the level of play that we've seen from Lillard over the last few years, and so far this year, again, it's very early, but he has not been playing particularly well. If he's not able to meet that challenge offensively, the Sixers are in a bind because defensively they're going to bleed points with Lillard on the court or any other type of smaller lead guard. Now, if you're able to bridge that gap offensively, and the partnership with Joel has tremendous potential, then it may not matter. The Nets last year, they just outscored teams. But it's got to be very careful about who they bring in, because if they bring another guy who's not even close to that level of play offensively and is a similar type of zero defensively, then you're walking a very tight rope of how to win in the NBA. So,
all right, man, let's wrap up the show. What do you got going on, man?
Yeah, man, the season has started. We'll continue to do this as we can and post-game shows as we can and try to show the people what we're seeing on the court. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, but last night was not one of them.
Nope. And we will always call it as it is. That's something that I will 100% do every single time. You're not going to get narrative BS here. You're going to give you the stats. We're going to give you the eye test, and we're going to wrap it up in a bow and tell you exactly what we're seeing, and we're not going to make it fancy. That was trash. That was that second quarter where everything fell apart is a concern. There's a lot of concerns there for the Sixers moving forward. I know it's one game, and we're not going to overreact, but the flaws of the Sixers remain if you watch them in last year's playoffs. That's what you saw last night. So, guys, if you love the Sixers, make sure you give this video a like. You can always follow my man Tiago on Twitter. I always get that backwards. At Davia, I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you next time. Stay awesome.